Awesome. Thank you, Michael. So to get started, if there's something that's not downloaded, not updated, etc., you of course contact us, and uh, I will mention what that is right now. So if you click on the Apple logo top left corner and click About This Mac, make sure this is Big Sur. If it does not say Big Sur, please contact us. We'll make sure to update to most current version, and make sure that you have Chrome updated, and make sure that you have an Apple ID account or iCloud account. Cool. To get started, uh, what you want to do inside of Mac is learn to open and close an application. So there are two ways of doing that: through the dock over here, and let's just begin there. So let's say I want to open Notes. So let's click on Notes, and so you can obviously click the icon, and a window will appear. Now you can also close it with this red button over here, and then it'll close the window. But in Mac, uh, that actually does not close it in the background, meaning that if you have a lot of different applications open, you just use that method to close the window. That application is still running. You're just not seeing it, which may slow down your machine. And by the way, you can tell that if it's running in the background still is by this little white dot. Now to close an application fully, all you have to do is just right click on the icon and then click quit, which is pretty simple. And there are actually shortcuts to do these things without clicking anything but your keyboard. So just to close the window, but not close it in the background, you do Command W, and you can see the shortcuts in the bottom left hand corner of the screen. And you can quit an application all the way if you press Command Q, which is pretty simple. And we can open a bunch of applications and do the same thing. So Photos. And the thing to mention about this is that sometimes it's not unanimous. Like Photos, for example, you can't press Command Q, but you should 99% of the time you should be able to quit it. So Command Q is going to do the same thing as it does for Notes, and so does Contacts, and so does everything else. Cool. Now, and a quick thing about Dock, of course, you can remove an icon from your dock if you click, hold, and drag it out, and then hold it there for half a second, and then it'll just have a little pop-up that says remove, and then just let go once you see that. And then if you want to any unpinned applications for the dock are going to be on the right in its own separate little column. So if I wanted to add Chrome to my dock, I can just right click, select options, and then just click keep in dock, and that'll just move right away. And of course you can click and drag and drag it in a certain place in the dock if you wanted to. And that's pretty simple. Now, the second way of opening application is called the Spotlight Search. And I'll just pull it up right here. And you do that by using the keyboard shortcut Command Space. And so what Spotlight Search is a system-wide search that will allow you to search for files, folders, and applications. And when you search for applications, you of course open them. So let's open the Notes app. And there it is. And so just press Command Space, you type in Notes, and then press Enter. And then, of course, it's already open, but you get the gist. And that's pretty much how it works. But you can also, of course, search for files. So if I wanted to search every PDF that in my whole computer, I can just type in .pdf, and then all of my PDFs on my whole computer will be magically just listed in front of me, which is pretty cool. Now, the next thing we want to learn about here is a little bit of window management. So we have these three basic buttons over here. So the red button over here is to close a window. The yellow one is to minimize it, and that will be located in the dock, and you can bring it up. And this file button is full screen. And there's a little bit more to the full screen than you might realize at first. So if you take 4 fingers and then swipe up on the trackpad, you will enter this view over here. And in Mac, like also in Windows, there are workspaces or desktops. So you can have multiple different types of window configuration. So in desktop 1, I can have a new window of notes, or I can have a notes application over here. I can have a calendar over here. And then if I use 4 fingers up, swipe up and then go into desktop 2, I can click Chrome, and you kind of get the gist. That way it's a little bit more organized. And I use this feature all the time. In fact, I have like 5 desktops open at a time because I'm a developer and I have like 10 windows open at the very same time. And of course, you can add more desktops, and you can also remove them by holding over a desktop and then clicking the X button. And that's pretty much it. Now, there are a couple of things that will improve your experience with this feature. One is how to move between these different desktops without going into that view. And you can do that by using 3 fingers and then swiping right to go to the left desktop, and then opposite, swipe the opposite way to go to the right desktop. And there are also keyboard shortcuts for this. So to go into that desktop view, you can click Control up arrow and then Control down arrow to go back to your regular view. And likewise, you can also click, press Control left arrow to go to the left desktop, and then Control right arrow to go to the right desktop. And that's pretty self-explanatory, but this is a really powerful feature, and Mac tries to make it very easy for you to use. Cool. Now, next, oh yeah, and just a note about the full screen. When you go into full screen inside of applications and you go into that workspace view, you can see that the name of this workspace is called Calendar. And what this means is full screen in Mac means you cannot open any other app other than the app that's in full screen. So if I try to open an app in here, let's say Photos, it'll just open it in a separate, in an existing desktop. And that's normal. Cool. Moving on, we have system preferences. And I am not signed into my Apple ID, but you should be, though it's not going to affect this walkthrough if you're not currently, but make sure to contact us if you're not. Cool. Now, click on the General tab, and 99% of these things is cosmetic. And the only thing you really want to make sure is that your default web browser is Google Chrome. Moving on, you have Dock menu bar. So this is 100% cosmetic, and this Dock menu bar, this first tab over here is about the dock, and you can just kind of play around with it. And then the control center has to do with the control center over here and the little icons that surround it. And I'll cover that a little bit later. But in general, there are a few things in system preferences that you will really care about. So, and that's Bluetooth, sound, printers and scanners, keyboard, trackpad, mouse, displays, and that's it. And let's walk through them one by one. So Bluetooth, you'll be mainly, the functionality you want is turning the Bluetooth on and off, connecting it over here, and there'll just be a connect button over here. And of course, you can forget it, forget a device. Going back, so sound, this is pretty important. You can choose your output. So I have my MacBook Pro speakers selected over here, and then input, MacBook Pro microphone. I know you guys are supported with a headset, so you should see more than one option over here. And you can check your microphone over here, output volume, here's the input volume, things like that, very useful. Next, printers and scanners. And of course, you would create a new configuration by just clicking on this add button over here, and that'll allow you to register a new printer or scanner. Keyboard, there are lots of little features over here, but I would mainly take a look at the shortcuts tab, and there are lots of shortcuts that are not even enabled by default, and and you can actually remap the existing ones that I'm using right now to something different that may fit your intuition. Cool. Now, moving on to trackpad. Trackpad is very famous inside of Mac, and Mac is very trackpad centered experience. And even if you are using a mouse, also learning how to use a trackpad will just make you better. So, for example, over here you can zoom in and zoom out in a picture, and that's pretty cool. Sometimes you want to do that just real quick, instead of just instead of finding a key map way of doing that. And I would highly suggest just to go through all of these options and then see if there's some you like or disable ones that you don't like. Next, we have a mouse. And I don't have a mouse connected, but there are pretty basic options over here. There's going to be tracking speed, scrolling speed, etc. And it's not very exciting, but you should know that it's there. And then finally, displays. You guys should be connected to a display, and that if you are in fact connected correctly, you should see an arrange tab over here that allow you to orient your laptop monitor to your external monitor. And that's between display and color. Cool. Moving on. We have Finder, and that is this icon over here. And you can't move this icon. You can't rearrange it outside of Dock. It's kind of permanently there, and it's permanently running in the background. And this is the only application inside of Mac that you cannot actually quit. So if you right click, there's no quit option. If I try to press Command Q, it's not going to do anything. And Finder is where you're going to find all of your files. This is where all of your files will go. So, and here's some basic tabs that you'll probably come across. So AirDrop, that's of course an Apple exclusive feature. There's recent files, there's applications, there's desktop, which is replicated of the folders that we see here, as you can see. Then we have documents, and then we have downloads. And downloads is the default folder where your Chrome where your Chrome files that you download go into. So if you download an image in Chrome, it will go over here by default. Of course, you can change that if you really wanted to. Now, there are a couple of things to note about Finder. One, there are several different views that'll make it easier for you to manage files. So over here, and they're displayed over here very nicely. So first view is kind of the icon view over here. And I mean, like, yeah, it'll just give you a little bit an icon and then the name, which is pretty basic. Next, you have a list, and that'll give you a little bit more, the size, the kind that they added. Then you have the most used one, in my opinion, and I kind of call it like a folder viewer. And if you have lots of folders that you're working with, it'll allow you to go into a folder while also looking what's in the previous folder where you came from. So like over here, which is pretty cool. And I use this 99% of the time. And inside a folder, if you select a viewable file, or viewable or non-viewable file, you'll see the icon or the optional information that is provided with it. Now, next up is the slideshow view. That's kind of what I call it. It's really is kind of like a slideshow view, and I would say this is the least most used one, but it allows you to kind of scroll through files, and this is probably pretty popular for files that are actually viewable, like this PDF over here. Cool. And another thing to note, you can actually have multiple Finder windows, and there's a quick keyboard shortcut for that, which is Command N. And of course, you can also drag if I wanted to move, let's say, this PDF over into this stuff folder. I can just click. I can just drag it over to the folder over there, and then it'll be over here. And this is you want more. Sometimes you want multiple Finder windows. Cool. Now moving on, we'll have the control center and a bunch of different icons over here on the top right corner, top right hand corner. And if you click on this control center icon over here, you will find many common options that you will find yourself changing day to day. So maybe Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, AirDrop, display brightness, sound, and background audio. And just note, if there's something playing your background, for example, it's inside of Chrome, it'll show it inside of here, even if it's not Apple Music. So it's pretty neat, and I'm pretty sure you're able to stop it, in my experience, anyways. But yeah, play around with it, see how you like it. But this is very handy. This is new in Big Sur. Now, if we return back to the system preferences and then go back to document menu bar, this is what I was talking about. There's some settings that you can adjust for the control center over here. And basically, this is fully cosmetic. There are no features in here, but really this is what this is saying is, do you want your Wi-Fi icon to be shown outside of the control center? If you do, click this checkbox and then it'll be shown over here. All right, that pretty much covers that. And finally, let's learn how to power off, put your computer to sleep, shut down through the GUI. And the way you do that is go to the top right corner of your screen, click the Apple logo, and then you'll see these three options, second to last. So sleep, restart, and shut down. And starting from now, you guys should have a better idea of how to get started with Mac experience. And I hope that I've made it a little bit easier for you guys to start.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks so much, Nikita. I really appreciate that. I noticed that use several shortcuts here. So I went ahead and in the chat box, now you guys should see a PDF link to some of the shortcuts that Nikita used. It's kind of the unofficial guideline to a lot of the stuff that we think is pretty helpful. Yeah. So I didn't have any other questions come in through the Q&A or chat. So I guess I'll just ask, does anybody have any specific questions or follow-up questions here for Nikita? You guys go ahead and put those into the chat box or the Q&A. If you don't have any other questions, then we do have one poll that we'll release to everybody at the end here. Okay, I don't see any new questions coming in. So, okay, I think we must have addressed all the content so far. I do have one question for you guys. I'll release that now, which is, I hope that you guys had a wonderful time. We're always looking for improvements to the training. So we always start with, I guess, this one question, which was, how helpful was today's training? Somewhere between very helpful and why did I waste my time? So hopefully you guys found it helpful. 100% of the votes came in the first 10 seconds. That's got to be a land speed record. Not only that, looks like we hit it out of the park. So nice job, Nikita. Real pleasure to see you guys. Once again, this is Michael Silva and Nikita as well. I put the support information into the chat box, and you guys can reach out to us anytime you like. We're always happy to help. So if we don't speak to you guys before then, I hope you have a wonderful first week, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.
Thank you for joining us.